essence of this meeting, which will be very brief, is actually to address our contractors based on the situation of the country and the situation of the ministry and the paucity of funds facing a lot of multiple projects. First is to say that when we came on board, as at May 29, 2023, Mr. President inherited a total of 2,600 projects, totaling over 15 trillions. And at that time, those projects were ongoing, and only about 2 trillions or thereabout were satisfied and paid. And so we now had an ongoing projects of over 13 trillions. Some of them were sukuk, some of them budgetary provisions, over a number of years, some NMPC tax credit, some, private sector tax credit, PPP, EPC plus F, all these funding models total to over 2,600 and over 13 trillions. And we now made very serious inflection after the fuel subsidy was removed, and then the challenges of the Naira. And that made it mandatory that all projects ought to be looked into. What the conditions of contract allows for contractors is only VOP, to allow for VOP, which means that in the contract, if the VOP has been exhausted, you can now apply for more VOP, variation on price. But this variation on price covered only about 4 or 5 items, like the fuel, diesel, bitumen, cement. And so the ministry looked at it realistically, and we felt that there is no way you will ask a contractor, to use the same price of earthwork, as at when the job was awarded. And by the way, some of the jobs have lasted some 18 years, some 11 years. And so when you now do VOP or price review, you'll be getting sometimes 500%. And it's very embarrassing both to government, to ministry. And it's not possible for anyone to defend that. Issues are taken at face values. And so we appeal to Mr. President to do 2 things. One is that we give our envelope in 2024 budgetary provisions to keep all the inherited projects alive. President directed that that should be done. And that's why you see most of our projects are ongoing projects in the budget, but with very poor budgetary allocation. 50 million, 100 million. You have 100 million for an ongoing project that is about 100 kilometers. But we had to do that, believing that there could be, other ways that we could fund this project, including PPP. And then we also have some new projects, especially the constituency projects of the National Assembly, which constitute over 90% of our new projects. And yet, these constituency projects are also of very poor budgetary allocation, 100 million, 200 million. In 2024 budgetary allocation, we have less than 30 projects that have over 2 billion allocation. And that's why I say that it's a palliative budget. You can't really use that budget to achieve much. But the budget is also very useful in certain emergency works, because a chain is as strong as the weakest link. In the sense that if you have a beautiful road, 100 kilometers, and the road is broken into 2 by flood, if you don't fix it, you can't use it. So that's where the usefulness of the such emergency projects or low budgetary provision to certain emergency projects, we come up handy. You know, in our society, we are very good at comparing. You know, the best minister, the worst minister, we are called differently. Our assignments are differently. And this ministry competes with no ministry, but we are very much committed into innovative ways of thinking and doing things differently. And for those who care to know about what we have achieved, we'll be able to say that, you know, maybe upper week when the Minister of Information Committee will be calling us. We've really achieved a lot. In this ministry, we work on Saturdays, we work on Sundays, we work almost 21 hours every day because we inherited a lot of tasks. We had 330 projects that Mr. President approved on an emergency basis, totally over 260 billion. As of today, we have completed over 80% of such projects. We have. And so if we are to ask Mr. President to come over to commission them, nothing else will be done. And I think that a cumulative project of over 260 billion is quite a milestone achievement for this ministry and for Mr. President. So I'm directing the PAM Secretary to direct all the regional directors to do the commissioning of these projects throughout the nation. They commission it, they put it in social media and put it in television so that Nigerians will see what we are doing. On new projects, we've completed some bridges. You know, like the Shandam Bridge, we have completed it. And so many other projects. And so, when we present our scorecard, the society will see the much we have done. But that's not why we are here. But very important is for the directors to, you know, after the Salah holiday, they need to go around and engage and commission all these completed projects, because it would be too much for me, you know, not to talk of Mr. President to engage in the commissioning. But from July, mega completed projects will be inviting the President every month across the 6 geopolitical zones to complete the commission. But my discussion with you here, directors, together with and also the contractors, you know, here, you know, being supported by directors, is to understand that we have a new situation. We cannot continue to do things the way we've been doing it. Whether we're doing it nicely or badly, we have to adopt a new policy to match with the situation. Mr. President had graciously approved review of our projects, and our projects unit prices were offered to the contractors, not contractors offering us. We offered to them. And we offered to you based on the approvals we had gotten on similar projects by BPP and by FEC. And so one thing that is our policy is that no contractor in Ministry of Works will be treated differently. Whether you're an indigenous contractor or you're a foreign contractor, so far you can turn cement to the right grade and place it rightly, you're a good contractor, we check it and it's good. And that is what is serving us. Because we will not have any reason to offer to National Assembly, to Mr. President, or the public, if in a particular location there are two contractors that are working and we have given them different prices for similar projects. We will not survive it. So we were appealing to you to understand our situation. There may be some of you that the situation, may be so harsh if you've been used to very easy money. And so our advice is that you can, wait till such a time we start cruising. Then you can come up again. But you will not force the ministry to give you the price probably you've been expecting or you have been doing. We won't be able to do that. When we came on board, we were confronted with certified certificates of 1.5 trillion, even though contractors have not been able to come to defend that. But we don't want to owe contractors. And because we don't want to owe you, we want to offer you what we can pay you based on the economic realities. And we don't want you to continue to write, and we write delay tactics. A lot of you don't have equipment and personnel on site, and you are using delay tactics to keep the people suffering. Until today, no project has ever stopped because of paucity of funds. When a project has expired, in line with clause 44 of the general conditions of contract, it's at the discretion of the client to renew or to have a new project contract signed.